Alright, so I had a couple people recently ask me about rolling endos and how to make the transition from just picking the tire up, and I think everybody's familiar with, kind of slamming the front brake. The rear tire comes up and you just slam back down. You don't really move anywhere. And they're trying to figure out how to make that transition from coming up and stopping, and doing the actual quote-unquote stoppie, going into a rolling stoppie, or a rolling endo as some people like to call it. So whenever I was trying to learn how to make that transition, I guess speed was my best friend, which sounds dangerous, and it's definitely dangerous, because with endos or with stoppies, there's no turning back. Like, once you get to that point where you're going too far, it's it's pretty much too late. There's not many ways to really get out of it other than jumping over the bars and trying to get away from the bike. So the biggest thing is, though, when you're trying to make that transition, is speed. Like, stop being at that point where you are, you're at, let's say, 10 miles an hour, and you're just grabbing a handful of front brake until the rear wheel comes up, and then you're letting it slam back down. Start thinking along the lines of, okay, I need to be going faster, let's say 20 miles an hour, or 25 or 30 miles an hour, and grab that handful of front brake to get the rear wheel up, but then you wanna let off the front brake so that it doesn't stop you, or so it doesn't throw you over the bike, obviously, if you got the extra speed. But you want to grab just enough of it to where it lifts the tire up, and then practice that initial grab. You're gonna get it to compress your front shocks. Once you get all the slack out of your front shocks, and there's nothing else for it to give, that's when that's when your whole bike's gonna pick up. So when your bike picks up and you can get your rear wheel off the ground, then you can let some of that front brake off and kind of start feathering it, which will keep the rear wheel up as you're going. Now, I'm not the longest stoppie rider. I don't ride very long endos at all, or stoppies, or whatever you want to call them. I just do enough to, the shows that I do, we've got the area that we work with, and that's about it. But there's a lot of cats out there that are riding them really, really far. They're getting endos up to the balance point and doing what they do, and it's very impressive. So I'll show you a few different things. First, I'll show you, I guess, some of the problems with the things that are keeping you from making the transition from your stoppies, quote unquote, to actually doing a rolling endo, which would be the slower version, and then I'll go into some of the faster ones. So the slower one, which will be where you're just picking it up and dropping your rear wheel back down, and then you'll see the difference. And whenever I'm coming in a little bit hotter, second or third gear, and then I'm picking it up and just kind of letting the feathering the front brake so I can keep the rear wheel up and ride the endo out. Hope this helps. So first, I'll give you an example of basically the standard stoppie, which is where I'll come in kind of not fast enough, just stop, pick the rear tire up, and then I'll just drop it back down. We'll do that a couple times. Coming in, you're not real confident with it. You're just kind of grabbing a handful of front brake. I'll show you again. Now, whenever you're doing that, as far as it having the principle right, it's all there. You're compressing the front end, and you're compressing it to the point that there's no more for the front shocks to give. And whenever it's at that point, either the tire's going to grab and you're going to pick up, or the tire's going to slide. And most of the time, as long as your tire's hot and you have a your motorcycle doesn't weigh 600 pounds or whatever, but the majority of the time, once you get all the slack out of your front end and your tire's good, the rear end's going to pick up. So with that being said, you need to practice taking all the slack out of your front end before you're actually completely stopped. So I'm going to go a little bit further back, click it up into second gear, I'll get a little bit more speed, and then I'll come in and I'll pick the rear tire up. And after I pick the rear tire up, I'm going to let a little bit of the front brake out so that it'll just roll, and then I'm going to roll with it from there and feather the front brake. So we'll try that a couple times. Difference, start a little bit further back, just pick that front wheel up, and then we're going to feather the front brake so that we can keep the bike rolling. I don't know if you can see the difference very well on the video. I'm going to try to get a few different angles, but I hope this helps a little bit. The biggest thing is just remember, try and instead of concentrating on doing a quote-unquote stoppie, where you're slamming on the brakes and you're not going very fast and you're just picking the wheel up and letting it come back down. If you want to roll your endos, you have to be going a little bit faster. Concentrate on getting the rear tire up, but then let a little bit of that front brake out. Not all of it. Let a little bit of it out, just enough to where you can catch it and keep that endo rolling. I hope some of this helps you. If you do have any more questions, please make sure you put it in the comment section. I also have some other videos on how to drift and things like that. Make sure you check those out. I hope this helped. Thanks, guys.